think this is about right. We're a bit close, a bit cozy.
Right. No, that's fine.
But we're in.
Yeah,
we're here. So welcome, Cam.
Thanks for having me.
To the Martin Talk Show. Second episode to be recorded in my new studio
What an honour.
So I really appreciate you
pleasure.
joining today. We met a little while ago.
Yeah.
When you came and you joined for the World Record podcast.
Congratulations again, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I was just telling you how I've had some adventures.
Yeah.
Some troubles getting through to Guinness, lack of communication from them. But I've got the local press on it. And I promise, like, if I have got any regular listeners out there, that I'll update them and I'll update everyone as soon as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
We definitely did the thing though, didn't we?
100%. It's like I was just saying again, like just before we started, the effort level, it's not something that's just been like faked or fabricated. It's a very real achievement, and you deserve the plaudits for it. And so I
kind of feel like we did it. That's
100%.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, do I need a certificate? Like, I know I did it. Everyone that was part of it knows we did it.
Exactly.
We raised money for charity.
Well, there you go.
What the certificate is just like the cherry on the cake, I guess.
Of course, yeah.
It's so that you can tell others that weren't there.
But it doesn't take anything away from the achievement of it, whether the certificate or not. It's a real achievement. So. Yeah.
It would be nice.
Yeah, for sure. You deserve it as well. So
I appreciate that. And so anyway, we're here to talk about you today, Cam, not about the things that I've been up to. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you about I see you in the town. You're an up and coming musician. From what I see, and I see the stuff you're doing on social media, you look like you're putting a lot of hard work into this. Let's start with, what is that like to be putting your energy into something like your music? You haven't quite broken into the industry yet, but you're going in that direction. How does that feel right now?
Well, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because on one hand, like, it's really rewarding to play, like, to just small rooms and to be part of gigs where, like, for example, my band just did Rock the Park, which is the one for Harlow Town.
I saw you were there with your band, wasn't you?
My band,
Echo Hoax.
Echo Hoax, yeah. And we played there, and the reception we got was incredible. And it feels like at the moment, I mean, this may well change if we end up doing bigger stages, but when it's smaller and it feels more intimate, because you've got like, you can see who's in the crowd and stuff like that. It's not just like a sea of just faces, really. But at the same time, obviously, we're all passionate about it, and individually as well, I'm passionate about music and wanting to write stuff that's authentic, but also to be able to make listenable music. So it's kind of like, it's a double-edged sword, like I said, where you've got to figure out where the balance is between staying authentic and trying to do what would be successful.
I guess there's an easy trap to fall into, just pleasing the audience and doing covers, doing tributes, and just do the music for the crowd. Yeah, I guess that would be the easy thing to do.
Well, I think that is important to do because, so for example, with Echo Hoax, we've got a couple of covers that we put in our set. Most of what we play is original, and that's what we really want to do, is we want to be an original band.
Yeah.
But it kind of also gives a bit of like context for the listener to see whether we're any good or not, kind of thing, because they recognize the song. So Take Me to Church, that's how we finish our set. And everyone knows that song. Everyone's heard that song, whether you like it or not, you know how it sounds. And when we play that song, you get people singing and you get people involved, and they know how good they can tell that we're good at what we do based on how good we can play a song that they know. We change it just enough to make it like original for us, but like you say, you don't want to just kind of rely on other people's success. It is important to write your own music and to put out your message, if you will.
I guess with a live audience, your crowd is feeding off your energy.
For sure,
and so to get that energy level right, then what you're saying is you take that music that everyone knows and loves, and you put a little bit of your own twist on it, and then they can easily easily get a feel for you,
Yeah.
a feel for your energy.
Absolutely that.
And then you bring in your own songs, and then you bring in your own material, and they're more at ease with it.
Yeah.
Whereas
for
if
sure.
you just brought in the music they don't know, they've got to take a little while to
adjust to it.
adjust and think and try and work out what's going on here.
Exactly. It could take like 2 or 3 songs to think, actually, yeah, these guys are good. Whereas if we do a song that everybody knows and change it enough, they're like, oh my God, I know this song. Wow, these guys are actually really good. And they've changed it enough that it's not just a carbon copy. So it's important, but yeah.
And I guess not every original song is going to be a hit, is it? So you're going to put songs out there that you might have thought were great, but but the audience are like, "What? I don't get it," or it might not be that they're bad; they just might not get it. Like I said,
yeah, for sure.
Or it might not be the right time for it. There can be many factors to why the audience aren't soaking in the new music. So there's a lot of risk, isn't there, in new music?
For sure. Well, and also, weirdly enough, you can also get the reverse. So I'm not going to say which song. Okay. But there is a song that's been in our set. Like one of the first songs we wrote as a band when I joined was this song, and I'm not a fan of it really. I don't particularly enjoy playing it. Okay. I don't think it's a strong song. But everywhere we've played, it's always got a really good reaction. So again, it's the mix of making sure that what you're doing, you love it, because like you said a minute ago, the crowd will really feed off your energy, and if they can tell you're kind of bored of a song, they're not going to be involved in it. But I guess for me, I know the other boys enjoy playing that one, and I can see that the crowd enjoy it, which I then get back off them. Do you know what I mean? It's not just a one-way relationship. Like it's mutual, where I don't want to leave the stage thinking I've got more out of a gig than the crowd, basically. Yeah. And even if that's only 15, 30, 50 people, whatever, it's important that people leave thinking, I really enjoyed that set, not that singer looked like he was having fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. So where do you sit with the train of thought? Have you heard of the music producer Rick Rubin?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got an amazing book that I talk about a lot. It kind of changed my perspective on a lot of creative thinking, called The Creative Act. And in that, he says the audience comes last. How do you feel about that with your music?
Well, I think so for me personally, my creative process, I feel like there's stages to writing and creating music, because I would agree with that in terms of writing 100%, because if you write something good, ultimately you have the choice on whether or not to put it out. Like I've written about 15, 20 songs that I've never put out. I've only ever released one single as a solo artist. But that's not to say the others are bad. It's just to say that I don't really identify with those songs as much. They might do really well if I put them out. But I want to stay as true to myself as possible, because then it's sacrificing the least. Because again, like I said a second ago, I don't want to be playing songs that I don't like just to please a crowd. So I think there's definitely a healthy medium. But when it comes to performing, I think the crowd is integral. They're part of the performance.
Yes, yeah.
So because if we're playing to an empty room, there's not really any energy to feed back off. I mean, when we're rehearsing, or when I'm just playing my guitar in my room and singing, I'm loving doing it. But to get that reaction back from the crowd gives you like that little boost. So, but again, I think you can only give the crowd that. Again, circling back to if you love what you're doing. So I would agree with that statement in terms of by way of writing. You want to make sure that you're not just writing for a crowd.
So how do you know then when the difference is to be writing a song at home and you're doing that for yourself, or you take that next step that it's going to be for an audience? Where does that happen? Because my daughter's a musician as well, and I see her doing it. I see her writing songs that never see the light of day, or that I know, or I haven't heard her perform again. And I've seen it with other people as well, that they'll come up with a song once and then it will fade away. So what's the defining thing for you that transforms a song from that being that thing that you were just working on by yourself to now I'm going to share this with the world?
It's a great question. I don't actually have an answer for it, because my hit rate for writing a song to putting a song out is very, very low. It's 1 in 20 odd. Okay. But I think with the song that I released, it's called Move On, I wrote it really like with just pure passion and frustration. And with that one, there was never really an intention to put it out. So it was a song that I wrote to kind of vent. It's quite an angry song. And when I finished it and I listened back to it, I was like, do you know what? This sounds like a polished song that I would be happy to put my name to and to put out there. Again, it's not to say that the others that I've written aren't quite that, but it's the feeling. It's literally just the feeling. And maybe I should swallow my pride. I've been told that a lot because obviously my closest, my brother, my parents, they hear everything. So
what is the pride? I'm getting the impression then the pride is maybe your thought process. Could it be that? What is the pride that stops it moving forward then?
I just think I want everything to be, I'm a big perfectionist. I don't want to do anything unless it is an absolute best reflection of me. And I think I can be like really overcritical on stuff. And one quote that I try really hard to live by is don't miss out on good enough while striving for perfection. Because sometimes good enough is fine. And because you can't really achieve perfection, and like
I think perfection is completely unattainable.
Yeah, for sure.
It's never going to be there, and it can often make us stagnate, and it can stop us from progressing with whatever we're trying to create. If we're looking for that perfect formula,
exactly,
it's not going to be there. So sometimes we just end up giving up in search of that perfection. I've given up many times in search of that perfection. I wouldn't be here today doing this podcast if I was looking for perfection. You know, there's many things that have gone wrong. Going back to that world record, the video quality on that is awful. And I could have gone, I won't submit this as a world record because the quality of the video isn't working. So there are many times that you can throw things out because the quality is not good enough. But I guess that brings it back to the feeling is good within the thing. I mean, like you say, you can always look back on your own work, especially, and think, no, that's not good. I need to redo that, or that could be better. And more often than not, like, there will be things that you could improve on, but that doesn't mean that what you've done isn't any good. It just means that you can learn from it, because the only way you can learn is through, I don't even want to say mistakes necessarily, because it's not a mistake at the time. Like the video quality, like you said, and the songs that I've written, they're not mistakes. No, they're just like benchmarks in time, I guess, where you've tried something, and there was an error. Or something to be improved upon. Something to be improved upon. Where you can note it and then use it in future. But like I say, that doesn't have to mean it's a failure or it's not a success, because that's all relative as well, isn't it? I often think that if we don't have those moments of checking ourselves and learning, then how are we going to know when we get to the next thing and we're looking to make something really good? How are we going to even know what that looks like? Well, for sure. I mean, think of the artists, for example, that come off shows like the X Factor. I know it doesn't exist anymore, but one of my biggest inspirations is James Arthur, because he was just a normal guy living in a bedsit with asking to borrow money for electricity. Went on the X Factor, and then all of a sudden he's got a quarter of £1 million, and he's at least in the UK, just a superstar. And then he went off the rails, because very quickly you rise and then there's no one really checking you and stuff like that. And then you inevitably, with every high, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction where the fall is going to hit hard. So you need to make sure, like you said, that you check yourself, because if you can learn to be like introspective and work out where you can improve, that leads back to what I was saying about being like true to yourself, because then that's when you'll be the happiest with what you create, when you're not doing it for everybody else and you think like, okay, that wasn't perfect, but next time I'll just do it a little bit differently. But you just want to not be too hard on yourself at the same time. It's a fine balance to strike. It is, and I like that idea of just improving just a little bit, even just improving 1%. So sometimes I think we're all too hard on ourselves, going, all right, so next time I've got to do the perfect thing. So the video quality fails, or the song lyric wasn't quite right, and we're like, next time we'll make it perfect. But actually, what if it's just 1% better? What if it's just that, you know, that next camera upgrade?
Yeah.
Or that next song lyric is just one word is a bit of a more poetic word than the last one. Do you know, and we're just tweaking it very slightly.
Yeah, tweaks.
Every single time.
Absolutely.
And then the journey, I find, in that sense, the journey of our creation is much more fun. And we're enjoying the process a hell of a lot more.
100%. I enjoy writing music way more with Echo Hoax than on my own, because it's a 4-man project.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be perfect. And there's more instances where it's not going to be, because there's 4 people. So there's more margin for error. But at the same time, that's when you stumble across happy accidents. Like one of our songs, which is probably our most popular song, is called Betray Me. We've been recording it recently, and I only for the first time while recording, we've had this song for nearly 2 years now, noticed what Dale plays on the guitar in the breakdown, and I didn't know it the whole time.
Yeah, sure.
And I pointed it out to him, and he went, "I've always done that." And that's the kind of thing where that's kind of the reverse, but it's like that's the 1% where most people will listen to the song and they'll never notice. But when you can listen back to it and you can think and you can hear that, like as a musician, and obviously for yourself, like if you watch a podcast back and you can see just a slight improvement or like a slight tweak that you've made, it's the really small details that come together to make a really, really impressive big picture.
Yes.
And you can't make that big picture without those details. And it's just learning how to adapt and notice what those details are and how to implement them without going overboard and then without giving up.
Any idea how we notice then, how we look at it, how we look at ourselves? It's a hard one, isn't it? Like, what is it that we're actually doing through the process to go that didn't work or this did work, without also letting the ego come in and then being like, oh, I'm just brilliant, or the ego doing the opposite and being like, oh, I'm just a complete failure. Yeah,
that is a great question. It's a hard one. I think the more you can kind of, like I said, be like introspective and realize like I'm not perfect, but also to have enough belief in yourself to know that you can create something. That will then lend itself to give you kind of like a decent yardstick of where you should be aiming, if that makes sense. And then if it falls slightly short of where you maybe thought, that might be an ego blow. But at the same time, it doesn't mean it's bad. It means that, okay, this isn't quite what I had in mind. It's still decent, but it's not quite what I had in mind. Why is it not? What can I change? And sometimes it's a little detail. Sometimes you do have to go back to the drawing board, and that's also completely fine. Personally, I think the most important thing is to just not give up, because while you're looking at yourself, it's really easy to think like, oh, I'll come back to this. I'm not going to, like, I'll leave it for a while. Sometimes that's a good thing to step away. But if you leave it for too long, or if you put it on the back burner, like I've done with all these songs that are just stored on my MacBook, like you end up kind of just, I'll start a new one. I know what to do next time. And it never kind of fills the gap, because if there's a good basis to start from, then there's something there, and you have to have the belief that you can find how to make it, if that makes sense. Because creatively, there's no handbook on how to write a song or how to film a podcast or how to bake a cake. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's result is going to be different. But, and I'm going to say a really cringe line, it's not about the end result. It's about enjoying the process. It's all about the process creatively, because I believe that, like, any audience that is going to consume your podcast, your music, they'll be able to tell if you're doing it and it feels like a chore and you're kind of churning stuff out in terms of like as a needs must basis.
No one wants, especially within creative stuff, no one wants to see you working, do they? No. Like when I'm doing this, it's become my job now, but I'm still not working. It's my life. It's my, do we call it like a vocation? This is just what,
like
this
a passion project.
Yeah, passion project. This is just who I am now. Yeah. So it never feels like work. And yet with a musician, that could happen as well, that you could be doing it so much, enjoy it, that it starts to feel like a chore. But as soon as that happens, the audience do notice that.
100%.
And they switch off. I switch off if I was to see anyone that didn't care about the thing that they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
You also touched on something that I want to come back to as well, about that putting things down for a little while.
Yes.
And then maybe coming back to it, like putting things down, but not saying that's forever, like just saying that's for a moment. So with songwriting, when you're writing a song, do you ever write something and then come back to it 6 months or a year later and look at it with fresh eyes? Does that ever help in any way? For
sure. I mean, I've got a song that's all but ready now. Like it will be my second single. And I've had this song for probably about 2 years. And it's been 2 years of working on it intensely for 2 weeks, then leaving it for 3 months and coming back to it and going, no, that's rubbish, I'm going to start again. Same riff, same lyrics, but I need to like re-record it, or I want a different guitar sound, or the vocal effects don't quite fit how it sounds in my mind. Because I think when you start something, that I firmly believe that the hardest thing to do with any creative project is to start it.
Yes.
Once you've got the ball rolling, you can then craft your vision. And funny enough, you mentioned Sam. When I worked with Sam on filming some promo for my song Move On, the only single I've released, we went out on the day just to do some filming, to get some like promo TikToks and stuff like that. And I had like maybe 1 or 2 ideas, but working with Sam was like really inspirational, because he said to me, like, I don't know if you mentioned this yesterday or not, but he said to me that to make another idea, you have to have the first idea and then do it. Because once you action an idea, you'll think, oh, actually, we could just change it this, like just a little bit, and then we've got that. And then we ended up with like probably about 10, 15 different TikToks when I went there with one in mind.
Yes, yeah.
And
it kind of snowballs from that once you start action.
Yeah, totally.
I've met a lot of people over the years that have millions of ideas daily, but they don't do anything with them. And they hold on to that idea as if they're the most valuable and precious thing in the world, but then nothing's happening.
It is quite scary to try and realise an idea, though, because
I'm not belittling it.
No, for sure.
Because I've had that. I've had ideas that I've not actioned, but I've also, so ideas that I've had in the past have then come out by someone else, or they've always come out into the world. All the big ideas that I've held on to and not done something with them, someone else has then picked it up.
For sure. And well, I mean, I guess in a way, if you wanted to find the silver lining in that, you can take it as, well, you know that you're capable of coming up with these big ideas that turn out to be successful and turn out to be good ideas.
Yes, yeah.
But you never know if it's a good idea until you try. And yeah, like you said, like the word valuable is the perfect word, because everyone creatively thinks that their idea is going to be the next big thing. And I think that's with any creative who's got like a decent amount of self-belief.
Yes.
But it's so important to try and not be scared of the failure, because only when you try it, like there'll be millions and millions of people out there that are like songwriters and podcasters and YouTubers and streamers and all of these like creative endeavors, that they just never make that one video or that one podcast or that one song. Yeah. And then they never get their break, and it could have been that. That could have been it. So you got to make sure that you know when to put stuff out there.
I have a lot of people coming to me now saying, I want to start a podcast. I've got a great podcast idea.
Yeah.
And in the beginning days of doing this, I give them a little bit of advice, because that's maybe what they were seeking. I think that was enough to get them going. Yeah. But of those people, I'm still looking at them and they haven't moved forward on that idea. And I'm wondering what can be done to help those kind of people. Yeah. That sit there and go, I've got this idea, and you give them the little bit of advice, but that's still not quite enough.
Yes.
Have you got any ideas of what can be done then?
It sounds really simple, but just do it. Like really just do it, because again, you don't have to put it out there. But if you've got an idea and you genuinely believe in that idea, then the only thing that's stopping it you'll never know unless you put it out there.
And I guess that comes back to you creating songs in your bedroom that the world have never seen. You've just done it. You've just played, you've just experimented, you've had a feel for it, and you tried. And then you've done another song and another song, and eventually something clicks, something feels right.
Yeah, totally.
That you do then share. But if you don't do that first experimentation by yourself,
there's nothing to put out.
So that's a really good one, actually. So when people come into me saying start a podcast, I should be saying to them, go into your bedroom and record a conversation. Record a conversation with a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's simple as that.
100%.
Don't share it with anyone unless it feels right. But just start doing that.
It sounds really simple and almost patronising.
Yes, of course.
Just do it. But that's where most people.
Well, it's such a great saying. Step. Nike took it, and branded it, and was like, "We're having this because it's great, because it is an essence to creativity, to sport, to life in so many different ways."
For sure, yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about Echo Hoax.
Okay, so I knew. So there's obviously 4 of us. I'm the singer. Then there's Ryan on the bass, Dale's lead guitar, and Danny's the drummer. I went to school with those boys. They're all a few years older than me, so I never really knew them in school. Funny though, I was in the school band with Dale's younger brother Jay, who was the guitarist for that band at the time.
Yeah.
So I've now been in bands of 2 generations of Dale's family. Dale, Ryan, and Dan have been in bands like since they were 15, like over a decade now. And they formed this group that was unnamed, and they had a few different singers come through. They didn't get on with one was kind of unreliable and stuff, and they never really found that fit. And then like this attests to the point of just start. I decided that I wanted to start singing and taking it a bit more seriously. So I started posting covers. And then one day I posted a cover of Hold Me While You Wait by Lewis Capaldi. And then I posted it on YouTube, shared it to my Facebook, just thought, if that gets 100 views on YouTube, I'll be thrilled. Then I got a message from Dale on Facebook saying, "Hi mate, I know this is really random, we haven't spoken in years, but like your vocals blew me away, would you want to be in a band?" And I was like, wow, like yes. So I went and met up with those boys, and they had a few tracks that they'd already written like the music for, but had no lyrics. And then we've written a lot of stuff since. But yeah, it's kind of surreal, like, again, to circle back, if I hadn't ever taken that step to just record those covers in my bedroom on a cheap, crappy stand-up microphone and my iPhone camera.
No, what a great testament to just do it, to just put it out there. Your life has changed. Like your life has changed in a completely different direction through putting a song out there on YouTube that got a 100
the one right view,
but the one right view by the one right person. I think the wonderful thing about the internet is you don't know who's watching.
Exactly.
If you put this stuff out there, if you want to create stuff and you want to be out there in the world, yes, your mates might see it, but you might get someone like Dale that's starting up a band and be like, come and join us. Come and be part of this thing. Yeah,
totally. It takes one. It takes the one person to
the one right connection. But if you don't put it out there in the world, that right connection's never going to find you.
Well, yeah, because they're not going to come knock on doors and be like checking everyone's bedrooms, are they? Yeah. You have to give them the opportunity to find you, and I guess that comes into the self-belief. Like you have to believe that you have something to offer, especially creatively. And since then, there's only one song that I've not written lyrics for in Echo Hoax. And that was the first time I'd ever written lyrics, even before I wrote Move On. For Echo Hoax was the first time I'd ever written lyrics. And I look back and listen back now to some of the lyrics I wrote for the first couple of songs and think these are naff. But they're popular and they're good songs. And so it's kind of irrelevant because I like the songs, they're fun to sing, and I can learn from it. Like it's a win on all fronts. Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough.
Yes, yeah.
And as long as you learn from it and don't let it get to your head. And
that being naff thing as well, I like that. I've got this thing where I like to lean into the cringe.
Yeah.
There are moments where I'm like, oh my God, Martin, what did you say? What did you do? But then I'm like, no, we can learn. We can build from this. And maybe there's something in that cringe that someone else might enjoy, someone else might like, or someone else might connect with.
Yeah.
Because maybe we're all a little bit cringe, maybe we're all a little bit naff, so it then becomes a bit more authentic.
And vulnerable. And people buy into vulnerability 100%.
Yeah.
Where if you're trying to put on, like, say for example, if I were just to write songs about, I don't know, like playing football and like going out on nights out with my mates, like there's a place for that kind of music, but that's not the kind of music that's going to connect to an audience. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
One of our best songs that is our most popular is called Hardest Goodbye, and it's like our ballad. And I wrote that when I was on holiday in Mauritius, and basically what it is it's a love song about going on holiday, on a short-term holiday, falling in love on holiday, and then never seeing that person again.
Right.
I'll be honest, I'll let you in behind the curtain. That's never happened to me.
Oh, okay.
But it's an idea that formulated in my head, and I thought, this is a really good premise for a song, which is completely real. But the lyrics, while that specific story didn't happen to me, like you can draw from like breakups and like longing for someone that you know is unattainable kind of thing. And so it's not always necessarily, it doesn't have to be specifically relatable to that exact situation, because you can take bits that mean enough to you, and I'm sure like everyone will have their one song that they love, and they'll interpret it slightly different from the next person, because it's just all interpretation. And that's the beauty of creativity. Like you're not going to please everybody, but the people that you do please, that like if you can please them in the right way, you can get real ride or dies, if that makes sense. And
do you think an audience is, especially in live music environments, do you think an audience is looking for connection within the lyrics?
It depends on, I think so, generally. I mean, me personally, I normally am. I think the artists that I enjoy the most and that I'd want to go and see live are the ones that can be vulnerable on stage, that can tell a story and be emotional. Because it's real. It shows you that, like, it's strange, because like I've seen James Arthur twice, and in the O2, like it's a 20,000 capacity venue, and there's one man that's facing the 20,000. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But he's telling these stories about, like, have you heard Trainwreck by James Arthur?
I'm not a huge James Arthur fan. I can't say I've listened to
that's fair.
Much.
So he's got one song.
Like maybe if it's been on the radio, I might.
I don't know that it's massively popular outside his fan base.
After this conversation, I'm going to go and listen to some of his music. Yeah.
So Trainwreck is a song basically about being at absolute rock bottom, and he performs it live, and you can hear the pain. And like I've seen. My favourite band as well, they're called Boyce Avenue. They started out as like a cover band on YouTube, but they've got some originals. But when they sing, you can feel the lyrics. It's not just a case of being able to just listen to the music and it sounds all right. Because like I've seen Ollie Murs, and he's brilliant. He's a great performer, but it's kind of like, not to take anything away from him, it's kind of like surface level. Do you know what I mean? I think for me, I want to connect with that artist. I want to believe that they're human. They're not just an entertainer. They're a real person who's telling a story. And I think that's the kind of audience that will buy into what you do and will be honest with you as well. Because you don't want an audience that will, I mean, we've seen plenty of times all these, like any famous person that's kind of gone off the rails or made bad decisions, and it's because they've not really had to check themselves or had anyone check them, because everything they do, it's all just, you're brilliant. Yeah,
told you're perfect along the way. And actually that doesn't help anyone. It's
damaging. It's really damaging to be told you're perfect. And it can be really hard to hear. Like if I work on a song for ages and I play it to like my most trusted people. So my dad's always really, really honest with me. And he said to me a few times, like, I don't like that. And I'm like, I can't put it out then. Because he's not saying it for no reason. He's saying it because as an objective viewpoint, and it's really important to take that on board. But again, it's also really hard to not, in the same way as when someone says, Cam, that is brilliant, you don't want it to inflate the ego. When someone says, I don't like that, it's also quite hard in the same vein to not think, oh, I'm rubbish.
Yes, yeah.
But it's important to find the balance.
And finding the right person to listen to that advice from as well that can sometimes be a tricky one to balance. Because, so for instance, like your dad sounds like someone that's really supportive and cares for you as a son and as an artist. Sounds like to me,
for sure.
And I think I've got parents that are the same. But sometimes I've got to a point now where I've learnt to kind of trust my own intuition a little bit.
Sure.
So I think there's sometimes a point where we need to kind of look to move past the criticism and advice of others. That maybe they are only one person's opinion. So there is, especially if we're musicians, we're in front of an audience of 100 people plus. Then there's 100 people's.
They could be the one exception.
They could be the one exception. So I'm very careful actually in seeking advice from others these days and seeking an opinion from others too much. But I'm also wondering at what point we change that. At what point do we start going, I'm okay with not seeking that advice and opinion anymore? It's
a really good point. I've never actually thought about that before, because.
And especially when they're from people that mean a lot to us, like our parents.
Yeah, because it can be like really validating to hear like, yeah, Cam, that's brilliant. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily like mean anything in the grand scheme. It should be, like you say, like to be able to trust your own intuition and to know that what you've done is as good as you can do, if that makes sense. And so it's not, you can't really learn from the opinions of others.
No.
You can only learn from
well, we've said already the trial and error, isn't it? The trial and error, the trying to put things out there. Sometimes it won't hit and sometimes it will hit.
Yeah, for sure. But like we've said, it's a hard balance to find. And I'm still, I guess, on that, like on the path to trying to work out how to not rely on other people's opinion for either validation or criticism and stuff. Because I think, how would you feel if you put out a podcast and someone that you were really close to said, this isn't your best, I don't think this is very good?
Well, I had that a lot in the beginning. Okay. When I very first started putting this out, I had a few people that I felt at the time were close to me say, this is terrible, what you're doing. Like pretty much saying to me, stop. I knew it was bad in the beginning, and no, that's unfair. I had some really good guests, but I knew that I was finding my way and I wasn't aware of what I was doing. And it felt that was hard. But that also helped me silence those critical voices. Yeah. That I'm at a place now where I'm getting criticism from the outside world. So every now and then I'll put one of these podcasts out there and I'll get some keyboard warrior saying on there, like, I had one on there recently that was like, that guy in the red check shirt, he's boring, he's got a fit guest, just keep the camera on her next time. And I'm like...
Classy.
Yeah. So, but it means absolutely nothing. Like there's no, I saw the comments, I thought about it, stored it, moved on. Like, but maybe I wouldn't have found that so easy actually if I hadn't have had the closer, the people that were closer to me saying you're not that great at this. What are you doing? And questioning it. Those same people now have gone, I get it.
Right. Yeah.
Like now that I'm 2 years into this, they're like, oh, I'm pleased you didn't listen. I get what you're doing now. I didn't get it at the time because that wasn't how they saw me. Yeah. That wasn't their image of me, or that wasn't related to all the things that I've been working on before. And I think that's hard for people when you decide to come out of your box. I think people find that difficult. So I don't see any of the comments that some close people said to me. I don't see that as like with malice. I see that as just their perception was being challenged. And so for them, maybe they thought they were protecting me.
Yeah. Do you know what as well I found, where I've had people come up to me before, like after gigs and stuff even, where I've asked, like, what did you think of our set? And I always ask, with the band, it really doesn't, like, I find it a lot easier to shrug off any criticism when it's with the band, because A, it's a 4-man project, and B, like, we're quite firmly, what's the word, like, we know what our style is, we know what we're good at, and we know we really believe in what we're doing. But one of the questions I always ask is, what was your favourite song and what was your least favourite song? And people, whenever they say what the least favourite song is, they always feel like they have to justify it. Right. If they say, oh yeah, my favourite song was, I don't know what it was called, but I think it was the fourth one, like it was really good. I'm like, okay, yeah, what about the least favourite one? Well, it was this one because I don't know, I just feel like this and this. And I think that in itself tells you, like, people are kind of like, they have their opinion, but the people that will tell you honestly are the ones to listen to. The keyboard warriors, I've never bothered about, like, I used to, even when I was like 10, 11, I used to make YouTube videos playing Minecraft, which you can probably still find, and like Beyblade videos and stuff. And I got some horrible comments, but I've never really cared because it's no weight behind it. It's literally someone with an anonymous name, an anonymous picture. Yeah. And if they'd say that in real life, then that's when it becomes feedback. Yes. And feedback can be healthy. I don't think necessarily like criticism, and especially not overly negative criticism, like that Muppet saying, yeah, the guy in the check shirts, whatever. Like, I just... Yeah. It's just throwaway. It's got absolutely no value to that whatsoever. And actually, I found that on this journey of doing this podcast, some of the best and nicest comments have come from strangers. Yeah. And people that I've met for the first time, guests. Like most of my guests I meet for the first time when they're sitting in the chair, and most of them go on to be good friends afterwards, and that means a lot to me. Yeah. Like that the value in that means something was right here. Like whatever this is like to the audience in this space here, something worked if there's a friendship building on from that. No, totally. You know? I think, well, first of all, I want to say, like, I feel like you are an excellent interviewer. Like, this doesn't feel like
it's not. I don't think it is.
It's just a chat.
I don't think it is. That's, this is just me and you here talking about the things that we love and enjoy. Yeah. And maybe there's some people listening in. I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Sure. But it doesn't matter. Like, me and you are here trying to figure this stuff out. And I think the point I made earlier when I was saying about being on stage and about making sure that I don't leave the stage with more than the audience is left with. I feel like this is a great example of that, because I feel like I'm gaining so much from being here, but like, I don't know, I feel like this is just, it is a very mutual chat. Like, I'm learning a lot from you. No, and I'm learning a lot from you. So like the value of that is great. Yeah, it feels healthy, because it's also two different creative paths. Like a podcast is very long form and very real. Yeah. Whereas music can be, like I said, with our song Hardest Goodbye, it's a completely fabricated story. Yes, yeah. So you can, in 3 minutes. yeah, exactly. So I can kind of portray however I want to in a song. And in a set, I can have a song that's a really vulnerable love song, and then a go away, I hate you song, and all of that kind of thing. And it's just, like it's so interesting to see different viewpoints and opinions from different creative pathways, I guess, because it's weird like how much of it can cross over. Like a lot of what I'm talking to you from is from this podcast background, from acting background and theatre background, and in the world of it's the creative circles are tight, aren't they? We're coming from similar ideals and similar processes and ways of thinking. It is all connected, whether you're a musician or an actor or a podcaster. There are connections of ways in which we can make things work and find discoveries in there as well. Absolutely. I think, I feel like as well, if you surround yourself with too many like-minded people, you're never going to kind of grow. Yes, yeah. And so to push the boat out, I think one of the reasons that I feel like this feels as natural as it does is because you've had to learn how to interview every type of person. Yeah, and this is where I changed it up. So in the beginning, this had a different name. It was the Creative Academy. Okay. In the beginning, and I've changed it to the Martin Talk Show because it's opening up different areas. It's not all about creativity anymore. Like, I've had the local MP on here recently. Oh wow! And so he's not necessarily about creativity. And so the only way to do that was to kind of change the format, change. Yeah. But also, I didn't want to stay stuck in that comfort zone. I was very comfortable talking to creative people. Yeah. Because that's who I consider myself to be. It's what you know. And I wasn't comfortable talking to an MP. I was like, I know nothing about politics. I can't change the world. But then that's not what this space is about. It's about the person sitting in the chair opposite me. It's about them talking about their things. And I've got a few questions about that.
Yeah. You know? I think to be able to go from an MP to a creative it's two ends of the spectrum, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah. Because one of them is like, it depends on creativity, and the other one is very much structured and rigid and regimented and stuff. So, but again, that's just a credit to you to be able to adapt as you have.
But I think that's the way that it grows. That's the way that it changes. Someone said to me early on, you need to come out your comfort zone. I think you're in the right space to come out your comfort zone. Because comfort zone is comfy. It's nice. You're finding this is working. But the growth is outside of that for sure. Yeah,
I feel like you don't, like you said, you don't really grow if you stay and do the same thing. And I think, when I joined Echo Hoax, for example, we're a rock band, and I've only ever really sung singer-songwriter, acoustic kind of music. And now I learned a whole new technique of singing to sound more rocky. And it's crazy where things go when you just try things. Because you just end up kind of adding more strings to your bow. Is that the phrase?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it fits.
And you can create and do more, but you never know what paths that's going to open as well. Like, who's the most? Who would you say is the guest that you've learned the most from?
Do you know what? Every single person I have on here, I learn at least one thing from. I might not know it in the moment. So like, it might be like we're talking here, but I'll come away from everyone and be like, wow, that was another 1%.
Yeah.
Sometimes everyone gives something. Every now and then someone else will come in and give an extra 10%, something that extra. But that's a really tough one because I think that everyone's got different values, different things to give in different areas, that it's so hard to give a value to a person. I think there are moments like we said about the comfort zone, where I'm coming out of my comfort zone, talking to MPs, talking to there was a moment coming out of my comfort zone where I talked to a well-known playwright and actor, Stephen Burkoff. And he was a different type of person, because you're happy to be here today. He was not happy to be in the environment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was not happy before the podcast. He was not happy during the podcast or after it.
Okay.
And he was testing me.
I see.
He was he's probably done 1 million interviews throughout his life.
Yeah.
And like you said, like we kind of said, this isn't an interview. So he was really pushing me on anything that I had to say. He was either giving one word answers or talking for 15 minutes non-stop.
Okay.
And so that was a challenge for someone like that, that's had 1 million interviews throughout their life and has achieved some amazing feats. That was a challenge. But I wouldn't say that there's one individual is outweighing any others. Everyone has something to give. And that surprised me as well.
That is a surprise.
When I started this, I didn't necessarily think that about people, about humans, that we're all, it sounds quite harsh actually, doesn't it? But I didn't think that everyone would sit down, and I thought that sometimes I might, in the beginning I was like, what am I going to say? How are we going to talk? What is there to this person? But as you do this thing, having this conversation on purpose, something comes out and we discover things.
A conversation on purpose. That's an excellent phrase.
Yeah. This is what it is. We decided to do, we arranged to have a conversation today, didn't we?
Yeah, but I just thought of it like that.
I think there's some magic in that. And I think that's why podcasts have become a thing. I think that's why there's something in this country alone, there's something like 250,000 podcasts being put out every year through people like me that are not celebrities, not well-known people. There's 250,000 people give it a go, that try it out every year.
That's crazy.
The majority of them don't get past 3 or 4 episodes because it is hard work. And I think it's only 1% get past 21.
Wow.
Of that 250,000.
How far are you?
So this is 360 something.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we're deep in, and some epic podcasts in there, like the world record and things like that, where it's a 16 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is episode 300. I'm guessing 366. That's my guess. But we're somewhere around that number.
That's really impressive.
Now. And yeah, it's been a journey, and it's not for everyone. It is hard work, but it's also very, very rewarding.
That in itself is quite inspirational to just be sat like in a room with you and we're just having a conversation just as two normal blokes.
Yeah.
Because I want to, at some point in my life, I want to have a catalogue of work that I can look back at and be proud of. And like you said, like the first ones that you said, you've improved like tenfold since, but you've still got that to see.
Yes, yeah. And there's a journey. Yeah, there's a build.
Exactly, yeah. And it's more. That's what I was saying earlier about. It's more about the journey, because at the moment, all I've put out is one song, and I kind of feel like something's missing. I feel like if I were to put out more and more, it would be easier, exponentially easier, the more you put out to keep going. So I just did actually a little while ago, the day before Rock the Park was, so Danny, the drummer for Echo Hoax, he's also, he's a rapper. His artist name is Danny B the Airhead. And I'm a massive fan of his music. And probably the thing that inspired me to put out Move On was he asked me to feature on a song with him, because obviously he had heard me sing through the band, and he believed in me. And I thought, like, wow, that's a big honor to be on one of Danny's songs, because I listened to him, like he's in my playlist before that, and I'm a fan of his. And so we were just, I went round to his house and we recorded for a day and stuff. And I said to him on the day, like, wow, you make me sound like an artist. And he said, that's because you are an artist. And on that day, I remember thinking, like, I'm going to write a song for Danny to feature on in return, because he owed me a feature, if you will. Yeah. And so that's almost what inspired me to write Move On, was that I had Danny there waiting for me to present him with a song to feature on. And then he just did, the day before Rock the Park, he did his 10 years anniversary of his first EP. And he got a few guests in and stuff, and he invited me to perform with him, and we played Shot in the Dark, which isn't out yet, but that's the song I featured on, and we played Move On, and I played live on my acoustic guitar to a room, and I'd never played Move On to anyone before, and I don't really get nervous on a stage anymore. Like Rock the Park there were probably like a couple of hundred people there. I don't really get nervous to play, especially with Echo Hoax. But with Move On, like I was like dry mouthed, like a bit shaky. I was really nervous, because I was like, this is my song. Like this is really vulnerable. But the reaction I got from it, and just even before the reaction, the feeling of having a room willing to hear me. It means that I've done something right in the first place to get there. And whether they like that song or not almost becomes irrelevant, because for me, I'll remember playing the song. I'm not going to focus in when I think of that memory. I'm not going to look back and think, oh yeah, the applause was amazing at the end. Yes, yeah. Like I didn't even really realise what the reaction was until I watched it back on video and thought, oh wow, the crowd seemed to really like it, because I was just so in the moment and my mum and dad and brother and my best mate was there, and I've got a line in the song saying, even checking on my best friend's profile. And I looked at him and nodded and smiled during the song, and you can see it clearly on video, and that's the memory that I'll take. Having the opportunity to play my song to a room, it was surreal. But yeah, again, like that only came from getting out the comfort zone and having the belief and trying stuff. But it does make me want to put more stuff out there. No, I really think you should. And I really think you should, not just for yourself, but I think you should for your audience as well, so that there's a journey that can be seen. Yeah. I think we're actually living in an amazing time and age where we can share this stuff with the world, totally. Where we can create a catalogue of your journey that maybe there's hope for like
the future generation. Now, let's be hypothetical here, right? Let's say that Cam in 20 years from now is a mega star, and there's this audience at Wembley Stadium. They're all watching you, and there's some young up and coming musicians that are like, I can never be as good as Cam. And you can say back to them, well, go and look at my back catalogue. Go onto YouTube and look at day one 20 years ago and see how the journey's come. See how I'm no different than you. What like, the power in that could be.
Totally.
Like, we've never had that opportunity before. You can't do that with, my mind's going to like Elvis Presley. We can't see what it was like for Elvis. We can't see what it was like at the start. We can hear about it. We can read about it in books, but we can't see it. We're in an age now where we've got the opportunity to show future generations what the progress looks like.
Well, yeah, I mean, even to like on a smaller scale. So when I started singing and putting stuff out there, it was just like little covers and stuff. And on my YouTube, there's a few covers, but YouTube I reserve for like full covers. But my TikTok, if I record like a full cover and I don't like most of it, but there's like one chorus that I think, yeah, that's good. That's really good. I'm happy with that. I'll post it. And even now, sometimes it comes off a bit cocky even, but I go back through my TikTok and think like, even in the last like 3-4 years since I started posting, like, wow, the difference in equipment, the difference in my ability to sing, like the difference in comfortability on camera and not looking awkward, the posture and like everything, stage presence as well. Like when I first did the first open mic night I did with Echo Hoax was a room to about, genuinely, no exaggeration, about 8 people, and 4 of them were my mum, dad, brother and best mate. So 4 people I didn't know. And I was stood there my feet were in the same position and I had my eyes closed, both hands on the mic stand the whole time. And then at Rock the Park just gone, I had the mic in my hand. I was jumping around, spinning, like playing about with the boys on the stage, smiling, pointing at people, singing with my eyes open, making eye contact. And like you say, it's such an incredible thing to be able to look back and compare, because that in itself is an inspiration to think like, well, I never thought then that I could be where I am.
It's easy to forget at times. And those times when we might feel like giving up, maybe that's something for us for then.
Yeah, totally.
And we can go, oh, I've grown. Because I won't lie, there's been points in the last 2 years of doing this where I've thought about giving up, where I thought that this is actually too hard. But actually, if I think about it, it is them moments that I can look back on, that catalogue that has gone, wow, I've come so far. Like I can actually physically see it. So when my mind's playing these tricks on me that I'm a failure, that I'm no good, I can be like, actually, let's go look at the catalogue. Let's see what this journey's been like so far. And then I'm like, oh, like, of course I'm not going to give up. Of course it's just a bit difficult right now. Of course I'm just outside of my comfort zone.
Have you had any moments of, obviously, like you said, you have had moments where you thought you were going to give up, but what in those moments, what is it that's kept you from giving up and made you think like, no, I am going to stick with this?
I think at this point in my life, I feel the most, I just have this feeling like this is working, that this is building. And so, yeah, when there's been those moments of, it's also hard work being up all night long doing editing, of putting stuff out on social media that no one's acknowledging, that, I create a social media post, it takes me all day to create, and I think it's the best thing ever, and I get 1 like and that's it, and you're like, oh shit, like this really isn't working. But it's just not, I'd see that as it's just not connecting with the audience yet. And that I've got other things to tweak and that I'm building. But I also think it's because I've had many other failures before this in other things that haven't gone right, that I know what real failure feels like.
Right. Okay.
I know when it's really not working, and the difference between hard work and failure and tweaking, and like hard work when it's also not fun and not gaining anything out of it. And and I think I'm in a space now where I am getting some reward. And I'm okay with the time that's taking me to get to some of that reward. But yeah, it's been, I'm seeing this differently because it's a journey, it's a process. Whereas the things that I've done before that haven't worked out weren't that.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult. I still think I'm quite early in my that's what I tell myself anyway, to not be too hard on myself for not putting much out there yet, because I think I'm still on the journey. Like even with Echo Hoax, I've learned so much from those boys about how to write music and about how to put stuff out there, even like how to feel good about what you're putting out there. Even if you think it's really good, it doesn't have to necessarily do well numbers wise, for example, for it to be a success.
Yeah.
It just has to, like, if it connects or reaches like a few people, like Move On, my song, right? Mm-hmm. It's got definitely less than 1,000 streams on Spotify. But it was, in my opinion, relative to me, a major success, because on the release day of Move On, I got tagged in probably 10, 15 different Instagram stories of people sharing it and atting me and saying congratulations on the release of your first single and stuff. And that to me was what was success. And I think that's what I took from it, where it was like, that's so much more important than any numbers that you could get on a post. This
is what's hard at this age, at this moment. So whilst I talk about we're in a great age for technology being available to us and we've got the capability to share, we're also valuing what we do on numbers. We're also in a point where again, if I go back to the beginning of all of this, and only 1 or 2 people were listening to the podcast, and I'd tell people outside and they'd be like, your numbers aren't good. The first time I met with producers for the podcast to talk about growing this podcast and for it to be taken on, all they were interested in was the numbers, not through the work that's being done, just through the metrics. And I've managed to put that to one side, the metrics. And it's interesting how that's grown by that itself, by almost not caring about it.
It's so much more organic though, because if you chase the numbers, your primary focus isn't on creating a good product.
Yes, yeah.
It's so much more important to create a good product and then finding out how to get that to the right audience.
Yes, yeah.
Because once it finds the right audience, they'll be locked in with you. Whereas if you try and think like, right, we need to make this because it's going to do well, you're going to burn out with it very quickly.
Yeah.
And the people, like you said earlier, like people are going to listen to it and think he doesn't want to be here.
No.
And
he's working.
It's very apparent
that
this is not like this is not a job for you. Do you know what I mean? Where it's very much a passion project, and it's so much more important to keep it like that.
So I want to go back to we touched on the future a little bit. Whereas, you know, you're a big megastar at Wembley Stadium, and like that's my vision for you from this conversation. But what's your vision for yourself and for your band? Where is it you're going?
Honestly, I think my ultimate goal, my ultimate success would be to play music for a living. I don't need to be rich. I don't need to be famous. I just want to be a musician. I just want to, and I want almost the validation through like, I know it contradicts what I just said about the metrics and stuff, but through like financial success and through, say, like being able to sell gigs, I want people to want to come and see us because of how good we are as musicians. I don't want it to be like, there are some artists, I won't name any names, but there are some artists who are megastars that are awful people that still sell out stadiums. I don't want to be that. I'd rather do 1,500 capacity venues forever. That would be like a dream. But where people wait at the stage door afterwards, and then I can meet people and take selfies and stuff. You know what I mean? Because that's the kind of people that I'd go and see.
Yes.
And I'd love to give that back to someone, because especially now, I'm just a normal kid. I'm just another one of the many, many millions of people that wants to be a musician. It just so happens that I ended up kind of landing on my feet with Echo Hoax, with an incredibly talented group of boys that carry me at points. But I do believe that we have what it takes. And I think dream venue would probably be Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because I'm a big Tottenham fan.
Yeah.
But if I ended up playing, do you know what? If I ended up playing weddings, if I ended up being a wedding singer, that would be success for me. That would be success. My ambition
sounds to me like it's about being around the people for you.
Yeah, for sure. It's to be appreciated for the music. That's the most important thing to me, because I'm in love with music. I always have been. Like, I remember when I was a kid, without going into too much detail, my mum wasn't very well when I was a kid, so she was in hospital for a little while. And my dad would always, I'd stay between like my grandparents or my aunt and uncle, and it would always be my dad that would take me between.
Of course.
And you know the song "Somewhere Only We Know" by Keane. Mm-hmm. So me and my dad, when I was probably 4, 5, 6, we made like sign language for that song, where we'd like act out the lyrics. Yeah. And to this day, like 20 years later, it's etched in my brain of that memory. Mm-hmm. So to be able to create music that people could think about and connect with and form memories to, mm-hmm. would be just like, that would be true success. Because you could be a billionaire and empty. Do you know what I mean? You could be playing Wembley Stadium and feel empty. Mm-hmm. It's about, for me, it's about the connection.
Yes. Tell me a bit more about that with you and your dad. I'm picturing that now. How did that help you through that moment that you because it sounds pretty tough when you've got a parent that's not well. My children have grown up with their mum not being well. So I completely sympathise with that kind of situation, and I've seen how tough it's been on them, been tough on me as well, so I know that from the parents' perspective. But I can't imagine what my kids have been through living with that. Can't imagine what you've been through. But when there is this help and support and connection with music, that you find this bonding with your dad, what did that feel like?
I mean, it's just like, it's like a comfort blanket, because you can listen to music everywhere. And so again, when my mum was in hospital, my dad would take me to see her and we'd listen to McFly together. Mm-hmm. And now, as an adult, I'll play my guitar and sing McFly to my mum. Mm-hmm. And like with my dad, like we'll put on that old Keane album in the car and listen to just the whole album. And it's safety. It feels safe, and it's a constant, because music doesn't go anywhere. And if you can find the music that you can connect with, but also that you can share that with somebody, being between care of different family members is tough. But I don't have any kind of ill feelings about that, because I don't feel like I was hard done by, because in the same way as where my mum obviously wasn't very well, I had some incredible experiences to get extremely close with a lot of different family members. Mm-hmm. This ring that I'm wearing is actually my nan's ring. Mm-hmm. And she became like my second mum, because obviously while my mum wasn't around to be there and my dad had to go to work, I'd spend a lot of time at my nan's house, and she effectively brought me up for a couple of years. And again, like the music there, like I can hit, it's etched into my brain in the funeral and everything like that. It's so powerful. And it's that feeling of never truly being alone. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. When you've got a musical connection, or just one song that reminds you of someone, and that can't ever be taken away.
Did any of this experience with what you went through with your mum and your family, is that what brought you into being a musician? Is that why you're doing this now? Well,
in a sense, I guess you could trace it all the way back to that, but I've always been really musical. Like my mum used to play the flute. Right, okay. My dad was a drummer, and they weren't. My mum was also in like theatre as well. She used to be a dancer. Both my parents are quite musical, and so it was kind of in my blood. And then when I was in primary school, I ended up getting the lead role for Bugsy Malone. Right, okay. In year 6, I think I was 10 years old, and I had I just loved the performing aspect of it. Then in secondary school, I was the drummer of the school band. And that was great. And then, when I left school, I thought I want to learn the guitar and I want to sing. And I've always been able to hold a tune, but it's crazy how much goes into being able to sing, because those that can hold a tune can't necessarily sing very well. It doesn't necessarily sound good. You've got to really work on it and stuff. So it came from, but the passion and the love for music definitely came from those early years of I guess needing that music. And whereas a lot of kids, I mean, I didn't grow up with like iPads and technology and stuff, but I was more than happy as a kid to just sit on my bedroom floor with no screen, no book, and to just have my little orange iPod shuffle without a screen.
Nice.
And just play music in my headphones, because it's just an escape. It's just completely, like, you're completely free and in the zone, and that music, like I said earlier, is always there for you. So yeah.
One of the reasons that I'm doing this, there's a few reasons why I do this, but one of them is because like I said, this started out as the Creative Academy, all about creativity. And I saw the effect music had on my daughter, and I wanted to talk about that. I wanted others to talk about that. And you're showing that right now, the power in music, it can really help us through our life. Like I say, my daughter, my son, they had a similar thing to you with their mum not well. And I really saw how music pulled them through it. Yeah. Even if it's just through the escapism of listening to it. I think more so with my daughter in the performance side of it, that she now performs. She also is in a band with Dale.
Really?
Yes, I'm not even sure I'm not sure what they call the band. It's only quite recently. Okay. But you might want to check that Dale's in another. Did you not know about this?
No, I know Dale performs with a lot of bands.
So she's in a band with a guitarist as well. A bassist, he plays bass. But yeah, they've recently, she's joined the band with him. But it's mute for her. I watched how music and performance shaped her life and informed her life at a really critical point. And I never fully appreciated that before I saw it. And so I was like, right, I need to hear more about this. I need to talk about this, and I need to share this. Yeah.
I mean, it's weird where it comes from, because again, a lot of people see musicians as well as celebrities, and naturally they are, like, the most famous people that we know. A lot of them are musicians, because you can't walk into a shop without hearing the radio on and stuff. Music is everywhere. But when you get these like global megastars that are writing songs, there's one video, I'll send you this later. It's Ed Sheeran, who's one of the biggest artists arguably ever. Like, he's just a bloke who stands with a guitar in a loop station and stuff. But he was playing for somebody's funeral, and he played, I think it was Visiting Hours, a song that he wrote about losing someone and about death and stuff like that. And he was on stage, and he wrote this song, and he was like crying through it. And it was like, my word, like, it's just so powerful. And something about like there must be a science to it about why music can make us feel something, whether it's through certain frequencies and brain chemistry, or if it is just through like being able to hear music.
See, I'm gonna go deeper than the science. I'm gonna go spiritual.
I was just gonna say.
I think
connects to your soul.
Yeah, I think it's far more. I think science is like a surface level. Yeah, that maybe we want to, as human beings, like find a rhyme or reason. Put it in a box. Like, people wanted to put me in a box. Like, we want to do that. We feel safety with that. But maybe like it's deeper than that. I think music is for sure deeper.
Oh, it is deeper than that.
And maybe we'll just fully never understand it.
But that's kind of half the beauty of it, because you don't have to to
understand everything, do we?
No, but you can fully still appreciate, almost more if you don't understand where it comes from. You can appreciate the effect that it has, because we're lucky to be able to experience that.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To have the consciousness to be able to listen to music. And like, I lost my nan like 6-7 years ago now, and I was listening to a Lewis Capaldi song the other day, and I just burst into tears, because the lyrics just hit, and it's like, this song came out way after.
Yeah, I have songs that come on the radio. The wind beneath my wings. Yeah, that comes on the radio, and like, that takes me back to when my nan's funeral, and I'm like, sometimes I'm even like, I have to turn the station over. Like, I can't do this right now, because it brings the emotion fully back.
But it's a beautiful thing, and it's, it's also, music can be a tool to move forward. So one of the healthiest thing ever is sometimes to just have a cry.
Yeah.
And I get stuck in the trap sometimes of like feeling really angry and frustrated, and it's because I'm trying to process things and I can't quite get there. But then when you find that one song that can flip the switch, and then it's like you just burst into tears and have like a real breakdown, and then 10 minutes later you feel like the weight of the world's been lifted. Only music can do that. It's magic.
It is. Well, this has been a magic conversation.
Totally.
Cam,
yeah.
I really do appreciate you sharing. I have got one more question for you before we wrap this up, and it's a hypothetical that I've been thinking about. We've travelled through your journey a little bit. Now, let's say we actually had a time machine here. There's this little contraption in front of us. Time machine, we dial it in, and we go forward to the future, and we find you at Tottenham Stadium. You're performing. What advice would you give to yourself from now?
Which way around?
So you get to speak to your older self.
That's a great question. Don't change like your creative methods. Like just be authentic and be real. Because I know like even people who say like when they're a smaller creator or whatever, and they have a certain mentality of, yeah, I'm never going to be this arrogant blah blah blah, and then when they get there they kind of lose sight of everything and they fall off the wagon. Stay humble. Like it's so important to just be real, be human. Don't behave in ways that you wouldn't want to, that I don't now. Do you know what I mean? Live the same life and appreciate what that is.
Nice. So let's dial it in and let's go back. Let's go back to young Cam, that 8-year-old. That kid that was, going through a hard time with their mum not being well and other family members. That might be a time that Cam actually needed you. What would you say to them?
Just hang in there. Like it's all right. This too shall pass. I live by that quote, and so this tattoo it's my mum's, mine, my dad's, and my brother's handwriting. It's a one of one, and it's not the neatest tattoo. It's so real, because whether it's highs or lows, this too shall pass. Just ride it out, because things will change.
Great. Well, a nice little message to wrap this up on. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Cam.
Pleasure.
And if anyone wants to find out more about you, where can they seek you out?
So it's Campbell Official on all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. And then, my Spotify's Campbell.
Nice. And we're going to start seeing the back catalogue grow from here, aren't we?
I reckon so. I'm hoping in the next coming few weeks even, I might end up putting a song out after this conversation.
It sounds like a good idea. I'll be looking forward to it, and maybe I'll attach one of your songs onto the end of this conversation.
Yeah, sure.
If that's all right?
Yeah,
great. We'll do that. So also, if anyone has been watching or listening, we appreciate you for joining us for this conversation. Thank you. Thanks again, Cam. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Lovely.
Why can't you move on? Why can't you move on? Why can't you move on? I think you should move on. Why can't you move on? It's time to move on. It's time to move on. Ladies and gents, make some noise for your host.